My name's Mike. I'm one of the co-founders of Almatitan Tequila. This is my girlfriend Monica for my moral support. I'm a really nervous public speaker. Almatitan Tequila, I'm one of 5 co-founders. We are an additive-free organic tequila based out of Amatitan, Jalisco in Mexico. Like I said, I'm one of 5 co-founders. One of my best friends and his father are the Sandoval family. They're originally from El Arenal, Jalisco. That's a small agrarian town near Tequila and near Amatitan, which is where we are produced. So the Sandovals have been cultivating agave, producing tequila for 8 generations. Not called tequila originally, but agave-based spirits, now tequila. I have gone to Mexico for years. I like tequila. I didn't know much about it though. And originally my friend Tino kind of ushered me into this whole world, introduced me to his father, his family, and wanted to do something with this family heritage. I didn't know much, so I approached my brother and our other business partner, Ben, in New York, who are in the hospitality world. A bunch of trips to Mexico later, we ultimately explored the idea of a brand. My friend Tino's father, Miguel, not in this photo, but this is all of his aunts or uncles, I should say, introduced us to the Montes family, also multi-generation agave producers and distillers. And ultimately, we started a collaboration that led us to Amatitan. So our certified organic fields, we're all estate grown. We've got over 800 acres of agave to pull from, all based in and around Amatitan, Jalisco.
So each agave is fully mature when it's harvested. There's a lot of tequila brands that will harvest before maturity. When it's harvested at maturity, it's like a banana. Do you want to eat an unripe banana? Not really. Doesn't really taste that great. You want to eat a fully ripe banana? We want fully ripe agave. It is harvested by jimadores. So it's a fully a traditional technique of harvesting, and we are harvesting the heart or the piña of the agave. So we're only using the purest form of the agave. Oh, thank you.
What are we drinking?
What is this?
This is a cocktail I made with your tequila.
Oh, wow.
Tequila, dark cocoa liqueur, cold brew coffee with a little bit of cinnamon syrup and orange bitters.
Sweet.
Oh, delicious. Thank you so much.
First of all, we didn't really hark on it, but what makes a good agave, 6 to 8 years maturity is usually the range where you start to get a properly ripe piña or agave. Once harvested, we then take them to our stone hornos or ovens. We've got 2 of them, and we load them up. They each can handle roughly 20 to 25 tons of piña at one time. And then you go and you cook them slow and low. So anywhere between 24 to 48 hours of cook time and cool down time. That helps cook and crystallize the sugars, and then ultimately prepare them for the mastication and roller mill process.
And what we've learned is that the cooking time and the cooling time are equally as important. You can't just focus on the cook time.
So 24 to 48 hours, this is kind of where you get into technique, and this really does affect what leads to, down the road, fermentation and then ultimately distillation. So Stone Hornos, this is in a brand new distillery that was, we were the first ones to produce there. We're one of only 5 brands ultimately that will be in there. The Montes family, they have a long history of production distillation. Alvaro and his other family members have a distillery also in Amatitan that produces 50 to 60 brands. They said, we want to do something that's different, long lasting, that ultimately is going to be quality based, not quantity based. So after cooking, after resting, we go into the extraction process. We use what's called a roller mill. When you take the cooked agave, you run it through the roller mill. It essentially uses deep well water mixed with a roller mastication process that ultimately extracts a lot of the agave juice without over pressurizing it. You don't want to pull out the bitters, you want to pull out the sweetness, the sugars, and the compounds that will turn into a nice tequila. So then we get into the fermentation process. So open air fermentation in stainless steel tanks. All the yeast introduced is natural wild yeast from around the property. So what you plant is what you get, or whatever's growing is what comes in. So around this distillery, everything is open air. It's just kind of mosquito netted in. So what falls in is the yeast that's ultimately being used in the distillation process. So besides agave, there's a lot of fruit trees, limon, mango, avocado, etc. And in the background, you can see obviously the copper still. So moving to the distillation, after the fermentation process, everything we produce is twice distilled in copper. This is one of the big things that also sets apart quality. Some distilleries use copper coils. Alvaro and the Matas family, fortunately, were able to invest in a larger, higher quality, all copper still. Yeah, expensive. There is stainless steel there as well. Everything we produce is in the copper stills, and they wear out way faster than stainless, but you get a way better product out of them. One of the things that we do that's really unique is after distillation, our high proof and our Blanco is glass rested. In a roughly 5-gallon garrafones, glass jars. So we purchased a whole bunch of these. After distillation, we rest in these minimum 5 months. Ultimately, what that does is it allows it to rest. It allows gentle oxygenation, and we put corn cobs with cheesecloth on top to allow that process to unfold as we wait to ultimately bottle it. It's an old school technique that most people don't do because it takes up a ton of floor space in the warehouse. You can't stack them. And it just takes more time. The glass jars are not all the same. So there's no real stopper that we could find that makes sense. And it's kind of an homage to the region as well. There's tons of corn also. A lot of times when they fallow the fields, they'll plant corn. This is our omoplata. I should have mentioned before, we are Almatitan. It's kind of a play on the region we're from. Amatitan, Alma means soul in Spanish. Titan, Titan, big, Almatitan. Omoplata, this is a product so essentially we have our still strength juice that comes out, right? 55, 57%. We then take that tequila and we kind of messed around. We proofed it down until we got to a place where we felt like we were getting our core essence, our core expression, without taking out too much of that profile that we wanted people to experience. So omoplata is 48%, not chill filtered, and obviously like everything else we produce, no additives. Okay, yeah, so the reason we like to start with this normally is because it's cooked agave forward. It really gives a good impression of what our profile is. Obviously with a Blanco, you're proofing down to 40%, you're adding a lot of well water into there. It's nice, but you don't really get to experience the full part of the expression. So we often like to start tasting with this before we taste people through the Blanco and then up through Repro and Añejo and everything else. So Blanco, also glass rested, like I said, minimum 5 months. Once again, never chill filtered. That's pretty important to us. This is at 40%. One thing worth mentioning, when I said we're estate grown, every single field that we harvest is written down and mentioned on the bottle. So you can delineate between the profiles and what's what. Right there, Campo, it's your field. This one is Sorito. Right now we're on our fifth production run. We're on our 5th field. And every time we do that, even though we have the same core expressions, they're all a little different because of these differences in fields and obviously production. So reposado, obviously we're not glass rested. We are rested in Kentucky bourbon barrels for 5 months. But we are creeping up with this one, the Añejo. So this is rested. It's the same as the Repo, just 13 months in the barrel, so taking on more of that American oak flavor while still being uniquely a tequila. No chill filtering, no additives. Our Alma Joven. So Alma meaning soul. Anytime we have a high proof, Alma is on the bottle somewhere because that's essentially the soul of our expression, the soul of what we are. The Alma Joven is one of our limited editions that we are producing or have produced. They ultimately made 3,000 bottles of this, and I don't even know how many are left, maybe 1,000 or something. This is 65% still strength, proof down with 35% reposado. That's been aged 8 months. We just chose a couple of our preferred barrels proofed it down with that, then added a little bit of well water, got it to 50 ABV, and felt like it was absolutely perfect where it was. Key selling points, additive free. So people who know agave, know tequila, know that this is important for a lot of reasons. Not only does it mean you're not adding something in it, it means you don't need to add something into it, because inherently the production process, the quality, the things you're doing are good enough and authentic enough that there's no reason to mask it. What you have is something that is uniquely authentic and should be tequila. Organic, that's important to us, that's important to our consumers, especially in California and beyond, so we're sticking to it. Glass aged, we think it makes a way better product. We're gonna just keep doing that forever. Estate grown, agave fields listed on the label and the website. That's cool. Right now, everything we produce is lowlands. Maybe at some point we'll mess around, mix, collab, but.
When you go to the website, you can also find on Google Maps where each of the bottles you're drinking from, where it is in Jalisco.
All the extended family, which is pretty much half the town of Arenal, is Sandoval. And we're proud that they're not only our really good friends, but our partners who have a very big say in the quality and oversight of this whole thing. Without them, this would just be a dream. And then value. So you get a phenomenal product for a very competitive price.